Hi folks, the Common Sense Patriot here. Now this might seem a little, oh yeah, I'm Lou. It's good to be with you all again. Look, I'm an American citizen, and my country's founders guaranteed me the right to speak freely and without fear of repercussion or suppression from my government. They purchased that right for me with blood. The Constitution assures me of that right. At least it did as of this morning. So I'm going to speak my heart to y'all for whatever it's worth and let the chips fall where they may. And please know that I cannot more sincerely mean what I say in this next statement, nor could I more sincerely mean what I say in the statement following that. Statement number 1. I have no desire to participate in, witness, be a catalyst for, or to promote any armed conflict or a civil war or anything of the kind. None. None. My gosh, I'm a husband, a father, and a grandfather of 7. The idea that my wife and my babies and their babies would be subjected to a war or military action in our streets or martial law or anything other than the relative calm and freedoms I was so fortunate to grow up with horrifies me. Statement number 2. Having said that, as I watch the deterioration of those aforementioned freedoms and relative calm, what our preamble referred to as domestic tranquility, I am appalled. So if it's the last option to get our government's attention, I will by no means shy away from a fight to preserve the American dream, to preserve the republic our founders created, and the Constitution that guarantees we the people's freedoms, and the memory of countless patriots who died to preserve and protect it all since our foundation. I'm just not built to run from that. But again, I would far prefer a peaceful solution is found to the insanity that is gripping our government and our country. Our founding fathers, God bless them, gave us a great foundational blueprint to seed, grow, and sustain a nation over the long haul. They designed into this amazing republic a great deal of liberty, but tempered those freedoms with laws. Laws that so often in recent times seem to be ignored or selectively administered. They gave us so much, and it cost so many of them so dearly that they'd be rolling in their graves to know what has become of this United States that is anything but united. In any case, as a result of our forefathers' efforts and sacrifice through the years, America became a place that symbolized freedom and opportunity. And people from all over the world came to bask in the bright light of that freedom and to avail themselves of the opportunity to work hard and to try to claw their way up the steep, slippery slope of a mountain called success. Whatever success looked like or meant to them. They came to try to give their children more opportunities than they themselves had had in their home countries. Because here in America, the possibilities were unlimited. And this next part is huge. The vast majority came to become culturally and by citizenship Americans, and for their posterity to grow up as American citizens. For the most part, they learned English and dressed as Americans and began to celebrate American holidays and assimilated into our culture. They weren't expecting handouts. They were expecting a chance to maybe, just maybe, if they worked hard enough and long enough and smart enough, and then caught a break or two, to have a better lifestyle and for their kids to have a better future than they would have back home, wherever back home was. Was it perfect? By no means. Were there flaws? Absolutely. Were there any government guarantees or even the implication of a guarantee of getting to the top of Mount Success? Not even close. But were they free to try? Definitely. And was it better than wherever was second best? By a long shot. Now fast forward to 2021. Riots and looting and burning and tearing down statues and assaults and anarchy. The loud and non-stop chanting that based on skin color, there is such a thing as a human life that is more or less valuable than any other human life. Immigrants not only not assimilating into our culture and way of life, but getting here, in many cases illegally, and then demanding that America change to become more like the countries they ran away from. And oh yeah, give me free stuff while I'm yelling loudly how much I hate America. So-called news media spreading propaganda, which is by definition biased and misleading information. Social media platforms censoring people for sharing their opinions, while the talking heads on cable news and newspapers share their opinions and call it news. A sitting president of the United States being censored by these arrogant and biased social media platforms. Our government literally stealing we the people's money to send it abroad and to buy votes here at home by offering huge handouts to lazy and non-contributing citizens, and taking our money and handing it out freely to non-citizens, many of whom are criminals because they broke our laws to immigrate to America illegally in the first place. All while in many cases not adequately taking care of our war fighters returned from the battlefield. There is absolutely nothing about any of that that is sustainable. Hear that, folks. What is happening now is absolutely unsustainable. Now, do not take that to mean that I don't know there are many fine and upstanding and hardworking folks here from other countries. There absolutely are. Lots of them. But if they came here illegally or remained here illegally, then their first act here was a crime. There needs to be a way to deal with that. But that's a topic for another time. So anyway, the US government of the 21st century, the government that is supposed to represent us, not rule us, is off the rails and picking up speed. And you want to know who that train is going to run over? It's going to run over we the people. So now, to the real point of this video. Our founders knew that eventually this better than anything before or since representative government republic model would get sick. They foreknew that because of a pre-existing illness caused by a parasite, and that would make America deathly ill. They knew this because they were really, really smart. So what parasite would make America sick? What is the disease called? It's called human being-itis. It would be the human factor in our governance model that would make America ill, to the point of death. They knew that certain human beings are just driven to amass power and control and the lifestyle that comes with that. They knew that people like that would eventually infect our representative part of our model, and the decisions would start to be made that were for the benefit of the individual elected representative and the government, to the detriment of we the people. Thus, those incredibly smart people gave us the First Amendment freedom of the press. I spoke about that in an earlier video. And that was meant to keep our government transparent and hopefully unable to hatch and foment tyranny. Well, that has been corrupted into a news media that has no mandate to tell the truth, and as a result has become the propaganda arm of the left. The other right our founders gave we the people to push back on tyranny in our government is the Second Amendment. As everyone knows, that is the amendment that gives private citizens the right to be armed, to own private firearms. And that amendment does not restrict those firearms to any particular type or class of firearm. It's important, though, to understand that there are two very distinctly different purposes of the Second Amendment. The first purpose is exactly the same as the reason folks put up a "Beware of Dog" sign on their gate or their fence or their door. The intent is to stop the potential intruder before they make the mistake of trespassing or breaking in. It is a preemptive warning intended to avoid the potential altercation before it ever gets started. That's a crucial thing to understand about the purpose of the Second Amendment. Again, it's a warning to our government not to overstep its authority. The second purpose of the Second Amendment is the same reason that the person who puts up the "Beware of Dog" sign actually owns the Rottweiler or the Doberman. If the potential intruder is too stupid or too arrogant to take heed of the warning, then they get their ass chewed off. Thomas Jefferson instinctively knew the character of men. He knew that certain people are blinded by the allure of power and the desire to control. He, in essence, knew that there would be people who would be so power hungry that they would be too arrogant and obsessed to read the "Beware of Dog" sign and turn around. Maybe that's why he said, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." Here's the huge rub, though, on the Second Amendment. If we the people ever got to the point of even having the conversation out loud about the Second Amendment being a possible option to deal with our off-the-rails government, we'd be called treasonous and seditious and potentially imprisoned by that very government. More so, if we actually came to the point of the conversation needing to turn to action to bear arms against tyranny in our government because our government was too stupid or too arrogant to take the "Beware of Dog" sign seriously, that very government would again claim we the people to be seditious and treasonous and would incarcerate us, or worse. Think about that. If we the people finally come to our senses and get fed up with the erosion of our guaranteed freedoms and corruption in our government, if the huge overspending and printing of money and borrowing us into debt we can never repay sinks in enough to people, if our so-called representatives, ignoring of the incredible governance document our founders gave us, the Constitution, and our incessant demands to return to the foundational principles of our republic, which was to be governed by law, eventually causes we the people to start preparing for a physical fight, we will be told that we're the traitors, that we're the seditionists, and that our rebellion will not be tolerated. Seriously, folks, grasp that. If we the people demand that our government, our representative government, return our nation to the way it was all originally designed, we would be viewed as criminals. So make absolutely no mistake, the eventuality will be this. If you ever lose or choose to use your constitutional First Amendment right to speak freely about the potential need to exercise your constitutional Second Amendment right to front tyranny in your government, some type of law enforcement will show up carrying firearms of the very type they want to take away from you. They'll haul your ass away at gunpoint, telling you that the First Amendment right you're exercising to openly discuss the possibility of exercising your Second Amendment right makes you a traitor and or a seditionist, and that, my friends, will be that. Welcome to the totalitarian states of America. Now shut up and do as you're told. Anyway, food for thought. Pray, America. Pray hard. I'm Lou, Common Sense Patriot. Godspeed to you all.